All right, all right, all right. So, welcome y'all to the Style Therapy Podcast. Look at me trying to be serious here. I'm so excited because we have a beautiful being here to have a
Aw.
conversation with. And it's been some time, and I've known you for several years. I feel like before I was a mom and everything, and you've always just been that creative girl. Like, one, you can sing down. Miss Carmelita Cimone, the owner of Uncle Leon's Wellness, is with us today, y'all. She is
Oh,
a Baltimore girl, but I'm excited because now I feel like we get to like explore each other through this
yes, I'm
conversation a little
excited
bit more.
too. I'm so grateful
Yeah.
that you decided to invite me on. I've been a
Of
fan of your
course.
well, you know how much of a fan of your work I am. To be a part
Samesies,
of
samesies. Oh my
to be a
gosh,
part of your
samesies.
podcast is really cool. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I'm really honored to have you here. When I tell you this girl has been a creative that I have had my eye on, like it was nails, like you were doing the nails. And then I was like, wait, no, but she could sing, like for real. Like she sings
Aw,
down.
I do
Then
my best.
not you do your best,
Do
baby.
what I
You
can
do
when
it
I
and
can. Listen,
y- you make it sizzle and pop. And then I saw you was on the West Coast and you was doing things. And then I saw Uncle Leon Wellness pop on the scene. So I don't want to like, shortchange you or put you in a box or anything. So take me through there. Who are you? Who is Carmen?
oh my goodness. Carmen is absolutely a creative. But more so the more that I've been studying myself, I realize it's less about being creative and I'm a master of processes. I've learned how to master
Mm,
processes. So, and I think that explains what I do the best because I'm all over the place, right? It's like, what does she do for
mm.
real? She's doing nails, she's, dibbling dabbling and this and that. But I realized that the true talent is mastering the process.
I like that. Is there a process that you prefer or practice that you prefer over the others? Is there one place that you just like, I love it here primarily? Or like, I
Nope.
love it here maybe a little bit more? Or is it just like,
It used to be music without a doubt. Music is
yeah.
a very fundamental part of my life. My mother has her master's in music. She went to the Shenandoah Music Conservatory in Virginia, and she always
Mm,
instilled music in me since I was a child. I was always with her at choir rehearsal, and she said she had like ensembles playing their whole band in the basement rehearsing, and she started me on the
mm.
violin when I was 4. So music
Ah,
more
shut up.
so even than singing, because to be honest, I used to be terrified of singing. I had awful stage fright, and my
Hmm.
first introduction to really singing on stage was in stage plays because I got to be a character. It wasn't me. So if I messed up a note, it wasn't me messing up. It was the character messing up. So that was my introduction to music, like, well, I'll say singing. And that was my love for a long time. But I will admit that the grind of trying to become successful and have a successful music career really wore me out. And I had to find other
Mm.
ways to let my wings spread. It's a lot, girl.
Yeah. Listen, I know we're gonna get into it, and I know there's only but so much because your life is so robust and deep. But I guess at what age did you start singing?
I was always singing to myself. I was singing the choir. Even I would go to my mother's choir rehearsal so much that they gave me a little baby robe and I'd be that one little kid up on the adult choir, singing next to their mom.
Yes.
I was
Praise
a
the
kid.
Lord. Praise the Lord. Yes.
But I didn't really sing out in front of people until I got in high school.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
My
So
brother,
when
I
did
used
the
I used to sneak and hide in the closet and sing, and my god brother caught me one day, and we went to the same school, and he was like, "I'm telling the choir director, I'm telling on you because you can sing." He couldn't believe it. Mr. Stephen Jones at Dunbar, like, made me sing in front of the whole school, and that's where it started. I fell in love. At that point, I lost interest in everything but music.
okay, so what song did you sing in front of the whole school?
Uh, it was a song called "Oh Freedom." It was a Negro spiritual. Yes.
Wow. And you saying so when you got up in front of the stage for that first time, you sang that song, that kind of like opened the floodgates for you to be able to explore what it could look like for you to be in the music space?
Yes. And when I tell you I was
That's what's up.
terrified, my whole body was trembling. I used to be so scared to sing in front of people that I would literally go hoarse out of fear the days before because I was just terrified. But I got over it.
Come on now. So does that fear still hit you when you do
Yes.
sing? Yeah.
Yes. I remember when we did the Renaissance Sunday, we did the a Renaissance Sunday dinner concert
Hmm.
at a Chicken and Waffles, but I think it was Charm City Waffle spot. I forgot the name exactly, with my homeboy Brian Stewart. And I
Mhm.
was so afraid to host. Like, I got so much anxiety backstage that one of my friends ended up opening up the show for me because I was literally riddled with anxiety from the pressure of putting it all on and then having to perform.
Yeah.
I was overwhelmed. So now I don't get that overwhelmed because I've had more
Mhm.
training and throughout my career I kind of learned how to process that energy. But I
Yeah.
still get nervous. Yeah, I still get the butterflies. I think that's natural for every
I
performer.
agree.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
I was just gonna say, I think it comes from a place of wanting to do well and wanting to share, the best parts of yourself to the audience,
mhm.
so no, I definitely feel like it comes from a good-hearted place. So, nails, because girl, when I tell you the nails was popping, like, so when did you get into that space of just, like, drawing on nails? And I know that rippled outward into or were you always drawing? Like, were you always a creative kid?
Kinda. So my hustles stemmed from not really having. When I was young, my mom, she was at battle with her job, and I remember she was
Mhm.
out of work for a minute because she was taking her job to court. And she was like, "Come on, we're gonna go to the corner store." So I said, "Okay." She got
Hmm.
me a can of Pringles. And she was like, "Eat those, but when you get done, don't throw the can away." I said, "Okay." So I ate the Pringles. I said, "Ma, I ate my chips."
Mhm.
So she said, "Okay, come on, we're gonna go back to the corner store." And this is when penny candy, I'm giving my age away a little bit, but this is when penny candy really cost a penny, okay? You could really still get a bag of chips for 25 cents, you know? So
The
she
good
was
old
like,
days, yes.
and she said, "Pick out all the candy that you want, and we're gonna get enough until this can fills up." So I'm like, "Okay,
Mhm.
cool." So we get all the penny candy, and then she gets me home and she dumps it out on the table. She was like, "Okay, how much was this?" I said, "That was a penny." She said, "Okay, that's 5 cents." She said, "How much was this lollipop?" I said, 10 cents. She said, "Okay, that's 25 cents." And when we went through the process of each piece of candy, and she was like, "Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to school and you're gonna sell this candy." She was like, "But don't let anybody know. And you're not going to spend your money, all your money. You get to keep this much, but then you're going to take this much and put it back into the business." And
Mhm.
I didn't realize it. And I was like, my mom
Come
taught me
on.
how to hustle. So I was in school in the sixth grade with a can of candy that I would hide in my locker, and I was selling a can of candy almost every day. So I would make between like $5 and $10 off of the can. And
Mhm.
then it turned into drawing. So I had like homeboys that could do graffiti really well. So I started doing graffiti, and I started
Mhm.
doing notebook covers and textbook covers because back then we had to cover our textbooks with brown paper bags. So I would
Mhm.
design textbook covers, and it was like $5 for just the drawing, $7 if you wanted color, and then $10 if you wanted color and glitter. So that was my
Okay,
next.
okay.
So because my mother was out of work, she started doing nails. She had a homegirl that was teaching her how to do nails. So I would always come home, "Mom, can you do my nails? Can you do my nails?" And she was like, "You're not
Mhm.
gonna be asking me to do your nails every day. You're gonna learn." So she sat me down and
Mhm.
she taught me the pedal strokes. And she taught me, because we were wearing those flowers back then. And she taught me how to blend my colors. And then one day she just took me to the nail shop up the street from our house. I might have been like 16. Well, no, I
Mhm.
skipped a part. I started doing the girls from school. They would be lined up in the cafeteria, and I would be doing their nails during like breaks during the school. After school, I have about 5 girls waiting on me to glue the whole nail on. Remember the whole nails? And do
Yes.
lines. And then they would come to the house and I would do their pedicures and just well, not really pedicures, but just polishing their toes. And one
Mhm.
day she just took me to this nail shop called All Nails in Towson. And she just
Mhm.
dropped me off and she was like, "All right, now come out of there with a job." And I was like, "Okay." And
Wait,
sure,
and you were like and you were how old? How old was
I
she
was
just
like 16 at this point, 15. So I was about to
Okay.
graduate high school. So I think I was about 15.
Okay.
She was like, "All right, go in there and get a job. And don't come out till you got a job." And I was like,
Come on, Ma.
"Okay." So I went and I said,
Ma said,
I
"Make it work."
yeah, so I got my hustle from my mother. I got my drive from my mother. Yep,
Oh,
it all started
that's
with
what's
her.
up.
All of it, the music, all of it, the art was my
Wow,
mom.
that's beautiful. She definitely was like, "Go ahead and figure it out." I mean, I love
Yeah.
that she was able to, like, help and nurture you in a way that, you got some level of, like, kind of a light push, but then it was at a point where she said, "Okay, go in here and figure it out for yourself, because you, ma'am, have been doing nails and adding stones and crystals onto things." So how did you expand into, I guess, like, the crystal kinds of creations where and if you don't know, I'm gonna make sure that everybody sees your work. But how
Well,
did that ripple out into just like the clothing and how did that come about?
it was I was doing nails. I was back in Baltimore from New York. I had moved to New York for a while and pursued music. And I needed a hustle. I've always fallen back on doing nails. Whenever I need something, or whenever I need to
Mhm.
get my energy going again, I always go back to the base, which is nails. So I
Yeah.
came home, I'm like, okay, I'm in Baltimore. I'm about to start doing some nails. And I didn't want to just do like crystals. Like everybody was wearing the clear crystals back then, but no one was really putting colorful crystals on their nails. We would just either get iridescent or diamond, and they were the little tiniest ones you can get. So I was like, I want to switch this up. So I looked online and I looked up Swarovski and I got myself an
Mhm.
account with Swarovski and I just ordered a bunch of colorful crystals. And I remember it was Morgan's fashion show. The lady who was running their fashion company at the time, her name was Sunshine. And I was cool. I had a previous relationship with her due to our music. She worked with one of my singing groups at one point. And she was
Yeah.
like, we need somebody to do the nails. And I was like, I'll do it. And I got this cool concept.
Was it
We nicknamed
ABC? Was it
it was
ABC?
ABC. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
and, that was the first time I used those Swarovski crystals on nails. I just put, like, an assortment of colors, Swarovskis on everybody's
Mhm.
nail. I did one
Mhm.
nail with all black fingers with one nail, and my best friend, Michael, he was like, "You should call that stained glass nails." So, I would do these nails on the girls that would come to me, and they would come back and they would all be still attached to the nail. So, I'm like, "I don't like having to crack these Swarovskis off, like, this still looks good, like, I wish there was a way that I could make this last longer." And so I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna put it on earrings. So I started putting my nail designs on earrings. I started painting earrings.
Mm.
I would do these big bamboo style crystal earrings. And I was selling for like $100 a pop, $75 a pop. And then that skill just kind of stuck with me too. When I got to LA, I got some opportunities to design. And so I don't know, it just followed me and I just kept mastering the process over time.
Girl, I love that I'm hearing you just continue to, like, you just go back to the basics. Like, I think that's a skill set that's imperative. Just, like, don't try to do the most. It's just like, no, go back to what's worked before, and you just
Important.
kinda compound it on top of that, you know what I mean? Like, you just continue to
Yeah.
expand. So, you said
That's how
you
you
were
don't
in
forget who
Baltimore.
you are.
Facts.
That's how you stay grounded. Whenever I go through anything that gets heavy, I come back to the block where I grew up and I take a walk
Mhm.
because it keeps me grounded. And it and then I remember who I am at my core, you know? It's a part of
Yeah.
my grounding process.
That's real because 'cause you've definitely been to a lot of different places. You felt a lot of different energies. You've been in a lot of different spaces. And music, we talked about this before,
Mhm,
just in you making and trying to create a space for yourself. Take us through that journey. Like, you was in Baltimore, and you moved to New York, and you
mhm.
moved to LA. What was that like?
It was a long, long, long journey. A
Yeah.
train that just keeps on moving, to be honest. You know, when it was the '90s, this is the juicy part in a way. When we were in
Mhm.
the '90s, the hype, the most exciting record label that you could wanna be a part of, to me, was Bad Boy Records, and, um, man, I used to look up to
Definitely.
Puff so much. He just seemed like a real go-getter. He seemed
Mhm.
like a real example of what Black excellence could do for your life, and I was extremely inspired to work with him. So I remember I used to watch Making the Band, and, um, I don't know, it was something about the show. It was something about Puff's willingness to work hard to get what he wanted that I resonated with. And I was like
Mhm.
watching Making the Band, and I was like, I'm gonna go to New York and I'm gonna work with Puff. And I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna do that. And the next year, girl group moved to New York and we just started working and pursuing music in New York. And it got real tough for me. Like the girl group did what it does. Most girl groups do. It broke up. I
Yeah.
found myself writing for a lot of people. And it's interesting because I had pursued record deals in different situations all throughout pursuing music.
Miss Carmen was telling us about how she moved to New York. You were with a girl group. The girl group
Yes.
broke up so that you were writing for other people.
Was writing for other people, and one of the people that I happened to write for got a deal with Puff, and
Okay.
I'm not gonna front, like, I'm not gonna be one of those people that make it seem like I was not inspired by Puff. Absolutely was inspired by Puff in the '90s. A lot of us just looked up to him because of what he represented
Yeah.
to young Black people, right?
Yes.
And I thought it was ironic that I was actually making my way to the place that I thought I was going. Like I said, I'm going to New York. I was watching Making the
Mhm.
Band, and I was like, I'm going to New York, and somehow I'm gonna get noticed by Puff.
Mhm.
So the girl group had broken up. I was surviving in Brooklyn. I was working as a bottle host at this club called Rain.
Okay.
And one day a guy came in and he was promoting a party there. And, we made contact. We kept in touch with each other. He would always
Mm,
invite me out, but he never made a move on me, which was very interesting. And he resembled somebody that I used to date that had passed away. So I always felt like he was
mm,
like my guardian angel, like that. Well, that's such and such coming back to watch over me. Cause he never tried to talk to me. He just protected me and kind of introduced me to important people in Brooklyn. So one day he
okay.
introduced me to this guy named Jack Knight. And Jack Knight
Okay.
was a head writer at Bad Boy for several years. He wrote a lot of the music that we know and have grown to love. And he brought me to the studio and he got me writing. Like I used to have to report to the studio at 9 a.m. in the morning. I
Mhm.
couldn't be late. And it was all work for me. Like it was all business. So I'm writing, I'm writing, I'm writing. And I get to the point where I'm fed up. I'm frustrated because I felt like nothing was working for me. I was a starving artist. I was hungry. I was struggling. I
Mhm.
was missing my family, but I was determined not to come back to Baltimore until I had something to show for it. And
Yeah.
so I took a trip down to Miami, just hanging out with some friends of mine. And I heard that Kathy Hughes was having a boat party and all of the executives are going to be on this boat party.
Mm,
And I was like, I'm going to stay. And everybody was leaving. And I was like, I'm going to stay in Miami by myself. And so I can because I had a friend that was going to the party that was like, you could be my plus one. So I was like, cool. So I kept my hotel room for 2 extra days. And the day before the party, I lost my phone in the sand. I was literally chilling on the beach by myself. I'm in Miami by myself for 2 days. Lose my phone, don't have a way to contact anybody. So I was flying on a buddy pass. I said, this is it. I wasn't meant to get on a flight. So I go back home, I catch my flight back home, and I call Jack. And I'm like, hey,
mhm.
Jack, my bad. I was in Miami. I'm all, I'm just feeling sad, like I want to give up. And Jack cusses me out, like, girl, where the fuck you been? Da, da. He was like, you working so hard and you about to blow it. He was like, do you know you scheduled for a session with making a band in the morning? Like, be in the studio at 10 a.m. It was something crazy. Next day, I reported to the studio and I got to write the theme song with Brian Cox and a guy named Keelan and Jack Knight. We wrote exclusive for Day
Hmm.
26, which ended up being
Yes.
Yes, which ended up being the title song for making the band. So my career with Bad Boy
Damn.
didn't go much further than that. Like I did a lot of writing with Mario Winans. My mentor ended up leaving, like not renewing his pub deal. So he went on to a new company. And I kind of was like, well, I'm out here fending for myself. And I don't know. I think I was so afraid when I finally got my publishing deal. I was so afraid that New York was gonna drain me the way it drained me to get to that point that when I finally got my first
Mhm.
check, I moved immediately. I didn't hang around to see if what it was going to take for me to get any further. I was like, I know enough people now. I'm just gonna go to the studios and make my way. And it was really hard
Mm.
after that. I'm not gonna lie. It was really hard. I didn't really end up getting a lot more placements in writing. I tried, and then I came back to Baltimore and I started writing with Rod Lee. I had some
Okay.
friends that introduced me to DJ Rod Lee, and we ended up doing a song that was a remix to the original Bankrolls. And that was so uncomfortable for me. You have no idea. I never wanted to be a solo artist. That was to me,
Oh,
that
wow.
was never my place. Like I liked being in girl groups, I liked singing my harmony. I was a shy kid. I already had stage fright a little bit. So,
Right.
I was like, I'll do it, but okay, but it went pretty
Mhm.
well. But after a while, I noticed that everybody that I was writing for, they would get deals. But when it was me, I don't know if there was something in me that I hadn't hit yet. Like I wasn't confident enough to stand on my own in that way, or I didn't believe in myself enough. So it wasn't manifesting that way for me. It was like I would do good work and put out good work, but I would keep running into stumbling blocks. So I remember I was working with
Yeah.
Alvin Gray, my homegirl Jaya, a whole team of people that was behind me, like helping me out. My best friend Michael, one best friend Sarita, she had a boutique. Michael did my hair, Jaya did my makeup, Alvin was shooting my video, the second video I had put out. And I got so frustrated in the middle of that process because it was so hard to get everybody on the same page to finish the schedule. And I'm middle of a video we were shooting. I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to LA and hanging out with some of my friends because I'm just so stressed to the point where I'm like, I'm at a breaking point with this whole solo artist shit. I went to LA. I was so frustrated. I was so ready to give up on everything. I heard that there was an EMI writing conference going on in LA. So I went out there. I had some friends that had just moved there. And I remember my first week there, they took me to R&B Live. And R&B Live was this club where celebrities go to sing open mic, pretty much. You could audition to open the show, and then celebrities would get up and sing open mic, and then there would be a headliner every night. So when I went, girl, it was like the most fabulous shit I had ever seen. LA was a different LA back then. Like, this is pre-pandemic. This is
Okay.
when
About to
the
ask what year
industry
was
kind
it?
of shifted from being in New York to LA.
Okay.
So, I mean, I had never experienced anything like this. Like, I walked into the club and it was every Black celebrity that you could think of in there. It was people busting, rolling joints on the table. It was
Damn.
like such an exciting atmosphere and inspiring atmosphere. You know, I was like, I need to be out here. Like, this, this ain't home. Like, this is different. Like, this is exciting. This is new. And it inspired me. So I remember I went up to the promoter of that event and I was like, look, I'm in town for like 3 weeks. I was like, I'm trying to sing some backgrounds. I'm trying to hop on stage. If there's any opportunity for me to sing, please, I'm going to keep in touch with you, but please let me know if you got any work for me over the next couple of days. And he was like, man, I've been waiting for some new background singers. I've been waiting for a new third girl for a minute. And he was like, next week you on. And that next week, I sang background at R&B Live. I think I sang for Faith Evans and Kelly Price, and I think Tyrese was there. I'm talking about like one of my first nights on. So I was like, this is crazy. So my second
Come on. Did he listen to you sing first? Like, wait,
well,
first
I
of
had
all, did he hear you?
auditioned. See, I had been to LA before and I had auditioned like back in 2009. I just went for a visit. I wasn't going to move. I wasn't going to I was just going to hang out with my best friend because she's from out there. And she was like, I got to take you to R&B Live. So that was my first R&B Live experience. I auditioned and I sang there once before. But this time I went, it was different. It was, I don't know if the promoters changed. I don't know what happened, but I mean, maybe it had built up to that point, and I was like, I was mesmerized by the experience. I was so excited to be around so many successful Black actors and actresses and musicians, and it was super inspiring. So, and I think the next week I might have auditioned. I'm trying to think if I know I sang, but I don't think I sang the first time I went there. I don't think I auditioned and sang a lead. Maybe I did, but I can't, to be honest, I can't remember. But I remember going up to the guy and I remember going to rehearsals that week and him being like, you're on. And that second week I was in LA, I was singing background at R&B Live. And then the third week, there was the music conference. And so in the music conference, people come in and they play their music. Record labels come in, different A&Rs come in, and they play their catalog for all the writers to hear, for writers to submit to record labels. And there was a girl named Leah LaBelle that was really catching my ear. So I was like, I want to write for her. I remember taking a bunch of notes for Leah LaBelle. And then while I was in LA still, I got hooked up with Adam Blackstone. Somebody was like, I really need you to meet Adam Blackstone while you're out there. And he has an audition coming up. So when I go to the audition, it's for the girl, Leah LaBelle. And I was like, well, this is crazy. Because I just listened to her music. And I did the Leah LaBelle audition. I started to leave because it was a dance audition and I don't dance. But then I was convinced and talked into just stay, give it a try. And I ended up getting the background gig for Leah LaBelle. So my homegirl who I was staying with was like, I don't think you should go home. She was like, I know you just came for a visit, but shit don't be going like this. Like, this is different. Like, this is weird.
So seemingly like things were coming to light for you.
Yeah. And I ended up getting that gig. I had to wait a couple of more weeks to find out if I got it, which kept me in LA a little longer. And I ended up getting that gig and I toured with her for a good 2 years before I came back to Baltimore. Because I didn't mean to stay in LA that long, I promise. I only went for a 3-week stay. I ended up staying for 2 years. So I went back home.
You're like a creative nomad for real.
Yeah, yeah. I just
Yeah.
been feeling my way through. I'm sad though about the Leah thing because she was such a sweet girl. God rest her soul. She passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Oh,
was
wow.
life is weird, you know?
It is weird. I'm happy that you did have the opportunity to work with her.
Yeah, she
Mm,
opened she opened the door for me and made a way for me to dream longer, and so I will always have love for her, always.
that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. You know, it's interesting the people that we meet and how they inspire us and expand us in beautiful ways. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. That's my sheep joy operator
It's okay.
barking at the door. But yeah, no, I love that. What was the biggest learning lesson for
And
you around
music,
that time? Yeah.
just about music in general.
Or just even about yourself, because that, I mean, it takes something to be able to be open enough and willing to like stay. You know, some people are like, nope, I said 3 weeks, I'm out. But you were like,
Never been
I'm
like
feeling
that.
it out. Like,
I've been
yeah,
adventurous. My mom always encouraged me to go live my dreams. Like she was always the one that's like, whatever you're gonna do, make sure you do you the best at it. And I would try her. I
that's
would
what's
literally
up.
be like, well, what if I want to be a stripper? And she would laugh at me like, well, you better be the baddest bitch on that pole then. But you know, she would be joking with me. We would be joking, but you know, she always instilled a fearlessness in me. You know, she didn't let
Yeah,
me like shy away from stuff and she always supported me. She never made me feel like I had to fit into what she wanted me to be. She always just has my back. So I think she
I love
inspired the
that. I love that.
confidence in me to just go for it. And it's just a part of my spirit. I mean, my biggest learning lesson, whoa, from music, that's a good question. Oh my God, it's been so many because I've had so many different encounters on that journey.
Yeah,
Um, Trust yourself and be true to yourself no matter what. You got to be true to yourself no matter what.
yeah,
That's true. I
that's
learned a
real.
lot about energy through music. I learned a lot about frequency and influence and,
Yeah.
what people are willing to do, what I'm not willing to do. You know, I had a real come to Jesus moment, if you want to call it. Like when all of this stuff was coming out about Puff, I said, God, like as pure as you knew my heart was, why did you allow me to be looking up to somebody who had those type of secrets going on? Like, what if I would have got caught up in that? You know what
Mm,
I mean? And I was
yeah.
really like, really, I based a lot of my life on the inspiration that I took from him, you know? So I was disappointed when a lot of this stuff started coming out because it's like, you don't want to hear that shit about people you consider your heroes, you know? And it's
Right,
like,
right.
it's,
But they're human.
yeah, it is human.
They're
It's
human.
not to judge. Like we all, everything that has light has a shadow. Everything
Yes,
that you
absolutely.
perceive as good has a dark side. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Mm-hmm.
not for me
Mm-hmm.
to judge because we all come to earth to walk a different path. I have no idea what your soul lesson is. I just know that you're here
Yeah,
in earth
yeah.
school. I'm here in earth school and we all have different paths to walk. But it still was in my mind like, wow, like of all the people I could have been looking up to, this is an interesting twist of faith, you know? So,
You know, though, Puffy was very, I mean, Puffy was huge. I mean, in addition to what he brought to the rap game and
mhm,
how he kind of orchestrated these different talents and things, it was his personality was so big and his
mhm,
confidence was unmatched. And I think
mhm,
that for sure was something that I learned from Puff. Like,
mm,
if you gonna walk in this mofo, own this bitch. You know what I mean? Like, if you are
absolutely.
going to do something, show up. Like you said, your mother said, be the best. My dad also said that. Like, if you're gonna be a bum, be the best bum.
Mhm,
And so I think that was the display that we got from Puff is
mhm,
just the what it looks like to bet on yourself and go
mhm,
hard
mhm,
and also demand the people around you. It's just like when we saw the behind the scenes stuff, we like, wait a minute,
mhm,
no, that's no. But
mhm.
we can't negate the fact that that period that we first experienced Puff, he definitely
Yeah,
triggered something in all of us. Whether it was
yeah,
that you appreciated his music
yes,
or his business acumen, it
yes,
was something that we were watching and paying attention to and learning from.
definitely, definitely. Yeah. I
So
learned,
you were in music, you learning things. Have you always been a spiritual girly? Like, has is mommy spiritual?
yeah, well, I grew up and going to church. When I moved to New
Okay.
York, I would say my spirituality expanded because one of my mentors, his name is Charles Farrar. He was a major
Okay.
songwriter in the Boys to Men day. He has Boys to Men plaques. He has Whitney Houston plaques. They wrote like Sweet Lady for Tyrese. You know, he has
Oh
like
my
huge mega
goodness.
hits under his belt. But he's a very like
Yeah.
zened out Buddhist type of guy at this stage of his life when I meet him. It's like in his 40s. And I learned a lot. I learned he could feel when he met me, he could feel the Baltimore on me. And growing up in Baltimore, you kind of get a dark perception of like life and how you have to go about it. And a lot of us had a negative scope, especially about getting out of the town. Like I always felt like Baltimore was somewhere that I had to escape from because it was so much pain associated with like how I grew up and losing friends. And
Mhm.
when I moved to New
Mhm.
York, every time I would come home, like somebody was kidnapped, somebody got murdered, one of my friends is on the news, somebody died. And I just got so fed up with it. I was like, I'm not coming back. And Charles could
Mhm.
feel that weight on me. And he was like, you got to let that shit go. And so he introduced
Mhm.
me to the Tao Te Ching. And he bought me my first style and I would read through it and I would read the whole thing every day. And he was like, you only supposed to read like a passage a day and like meditate on it. I'm like, I like it. I'm reading it every day. And so he took me to yoga. I started doing yoga. I started getting it in alignment with myself. And it's
Mhm.
interesting that that alignment even took me away from Charles at one point. Like we had a falling out because I had to stay true to myself and he had to stay true to his
Mhm.
program. And that led us in two different directions, and then eventually in life we ended up
Yeah.
connecting again. But he really opened my mind to like balance, to the yin and yang and to not let a negative perception and a negative frequency rule me, because I was a tough cookie. I was like
Yeah.
a defender of the underdog. I would fight for my friends, and he can feel that.
Yeah.
And then when you leave Baltimore, you learn that you can't bring all this shit with you because it don't fly in every market. It doesn't, the
Yeah.
defensiveness
Yeah.
that sometimes that we carry from being from here. I remember when my best friend moved here from California, she was like, it's hard to even say hi to people when you walk past them or look at them. You could be admiring somebody and they'd be like, what you looking at? Instead of just being like, hey, how you doing?
You know what's so
Pretty.
funny? I definitely get that, but as a person who I was always on the opposite side of the street. Like I was
Mm,
like, "Hey guys, let's be cool. Let's have fun." So I was presenting this light energy and met with a little bit of the darkness, and so I realized like, okay, whereas you had to like peel it off of you, I
mhm.
had to learn to adopt a little bit of that darkness because it
Yeah,
was like, "Ooh boo boo. These people will try you if you all light and love and no fire." You
yeah,
know what I mean? So
absolutely.
yeah, I definitely get it. Wherever you are in the spectrum, you got to make sure that you balance it out. So
Yeah,
I'm glad you were able to unpeel the darkness off. So
yeah.
what does because now you're in this wellness space,
Mhm.
and so is that kind of your path to Uncle Leon's wellness,
Well,
or
my
how did that come
uncle
about?
my uncle took the place of my dad growing up. My dad didn't come into my life until I was older, so my two uncles always were like my two dads, and I was extremely close with my Uncle
Okay.
Leon. He was an
Hmm.
amazing scientist. He was, a physicist, and he did a lot of amazing things
Really?
in his lifetime, but I remember as he was getting older, he was collecting these herbs in his basement, and I was like, "What's this?" And he would just smile and laugh, he'd be like, "I'm gonna have an apothecary one day." And so, this gets me emotional. So
Oh.
when he passed, it wasn't until I didn't even know I was going to be doing this, to be honest. I really didn't. But I was in LA. I had started doing some creative directing. I had started working for some other people
Hmm.
and the pandemic hit. And I remember being on the phone, with a friend of mine and I was making all this crystal stuff and all this like material stuff. And then the pandemic hit. So I was like, no, it wasn't the pandemic. It was Katrina. Katrina hit. And
Okay.
I was like, what am I really doing? Like, that was the first time I questioned, am I doing work that's purposeful enough? Because I'm like,
Yeah,
I literally said out my mouth, I was like, the world is underwater. So like what difference does it make making a dollar? Like it doesn't what good are crystal socks? What good are crystal jackets if everybody's dying and drowning in society and what's going on
I
Katrina
got you.
and beyond?
Yes.
Like what worth does this stuff
Yes.
have? And
Yep. Yep.
that was like my first awakening. Like, I want to do something more purposeful. And then later in my
Hmm.
career, when the pandemic hit, I had been introduced to CMOS by a very good friend of mine. And because I was having like anxiety, like just being away from home and being nervous about being successful. And he was like, I want you to try some CMOS. So I started taking the CMOS. I started just adding my little spin to it. And a lot of my friends were like, you need to sell this. And so I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's pandemic time. I'm not about to be still trying to sell clothes. Felt like that was so small compared to what I could be
Yeah, it was like
with.
read the room. Yeah, there's real shit going on. Yeah.
Yeah, my best friend, we were having concerns that we had never been faced with in life. Like, what if society shut down and we just had to survive on our own? How would we go about doing that? And I was like, yo, let's get it with the CMOS. And she was like,
Yeah.
okay. And she was one of the founding members of Uncle Leon's Wellness. And it's not that Uncle Leon was so into CMOS, but it was that when I started my apothecary, I wanted to do it in his honor. And the things that he was onto was so deep that they take some studying. Like, I have huge books from him right now that I have to really like get into, to really follow in his footsteps. But the apothecary was absolutely started in memory of his dedication to, he was always the one coming home with like some herb that he found out about in Brazil or South America or somewhere on his
Mm,
travels, like, hey, you got to start doing this, you got to start taking this herb, you got to start using these salts, you got to start doing, he always has something to bring home to the family that was meant to preserve our wellness. So I was like, this is the
yeah.
perfect time to let my uncle's legacy carry on through me. And that's how I started Uncle Leon.
Shout out to Uncle Leon and thank
Yes.
goodness and God for those people in our families that are close to us and encourage us to like tap into natural ways of
Mhm.
healing and being because we can get so inundated with all of this consumerism and capitalism that exists in our world. So,
Mhm.
and I also feel you on those times when things are really happening, just being in touch with humanity in a way that's like, how can I show up
Mhm.
that's not adding to the noise of it all? That's really a remedy. So,
Mhm.
I appreciate Uncle Leon's wellness. I gotta order some more. So, where do you feel like you are? Do you feel like there's anything new that you're exploring, or where are you right now in your growth journey?
Just working on discipline and consistency. I'm just back moving home from Baltimore. Things really slowed down. LA's a different place now
Yeah,
than it was just a
you
couple of
said
years
that.
ago. And it's a lot going
Mhm.
on, I think, in the world that we can all see is contributing to why that market might be drying up a little bit. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but
Do you think, with everything coming out that there is an opportunity for a change and a shift in the music industries and so forth? Like, I'm curious to know what you're thinking about the climate of the world and, of course, how you're growing, but do you
mhm.
see it evolving and changing into a better space?
Yeah, I think it's becoming better for independent people with the evolution of technology. We have the power to take things into our own hands. Like, we don't really have to go through channels where we need permission or where it's a lot of gatekeeping. We can write our own songs and release them right to the public. I think it's about
Mhm.
studying the market, studying how marketing works, and then using that to your benefit to promote your independent product, whatever it is. So I think there's a lot to learn between the generations because I was in a generation where you had to go outside and get in people's faces and hand out flyers and it was very
Mhm.
analog. Everything was very tangible. You could touch it. Where now we're like in a digital world where you can do most of the work from sitting at home on your computer. And I think both worlds have something to offer each other that are important.
Yeah.
I think people put something out, let's just say, and they don't understand why they didn't get the response from it, but they may not know the work it takes to build up to that momentum. It takes work even in the digital market to build up to a momentum. And I feel like our generation got a good grasp of that. Where these kids nowadays, the ones that have it figured out, like I don't know how to get 1 million people to watch me on the stream. I think that's a talent and a
Hmm.
skill, so they have something to teach
Yeah.
us too, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
really studying what it is that you want to do thoroughly, study the greats, study the people that came before you, and getting to know yourself and what you have to offer, and just going for it. You know.
Yeah. Having all the knowing yourself being a cheat code, and just being able to evaluate who you are, because there's different iterations of us as we go through different things. And
Mhm.
even as a woman, as we're shape shifting and losing weight, gaining weight,
Mhm.
we have different psyches that go along with it. So we can
Mhm.
be 3 or 4 different people in our lifetime. So I think it's
Mhm.
important to just check in with who you are in the season that you're in.
Yeah.
And also, I think that technology and the analog of it all, I think they need to work hand in hand because I don't know
Mhm.
about you, but there's times when I'm in front of the digital screen and I'm like, this is just not hitting for me. Like I
Mhm.
miss listening parties. I miss going into an environment and sitting down and catching a vibe with different people and being able to like energetically feel what it is to be in a room full of folks that's like sway into the same
Mhm.
melody. You know what I mean? Like I just the digital piece just seems so like lost upon me a little bit. So I think there needs to be more
I
of a
think
balance.
anything that you feel deeply in your soul and it pulls you towards it, like, you should explore it because there's something in that for you. That's one thing I've
Yeah.
noticed, like, when I feel something strongly and I don't move on everything that I feel because I've become more it's interesting how people like to separate science and spirituality, but I think they work hand in hand. And once you
Quantum
I've
physics.
I've learned the power of making up my mind and deciding,
Hmm.
like and with that, like, cause at first it was just about being excited, right? Like, "Oh, I like this, I wanna learn this. Oh, I like that, I wanna learn that."
Yeah. Yeah.
But the more
Yeah.
things I touched and the more things I paid attention to, the more things I made matter. And we talked about this before, like making things matter is a process of turning them into a physical, tangible, touchable thing if you get into the etymology of the word
Mm.
matter, making matter.
Mhm.
And so I made
Mhm.
so many
Mhm.
things in my mind that I was excited about. I made them matter a lot. You know, even my dark thoughts, I made them matter. I thought about them too much. And so I started manifesting things that I didn't like, just like the things that I did like. And so
Yes.
I said, okay, now I know how to touch things and bring it to life, but now I have to like be more in tune with what really matters because I got overwhelmed with doing stuff. At one point, I was spending so much. I'm like, people that are watching me are probably confused about what it is I really do because I'm trying to do so much. So I would say I learned how to only really pay attention to the things that were truly deep in my heart and making those things matter so that I wouldn't feel so spread thin. And then when I
Yeah.
do that, I see how effective channeling all of that energy in one direction has become, you know?
Yes. That's a real world. As a creative, you really I know I get in the space of knowing like, damn, I can create anything I want to.
Mhm.
Which is, you know, that can be a lot, and so really having to center your focus and identify, well, what does really matter, and,
Mhm.
I'm in that space as well. It's just, like, getting very drilled down and specific and granular
Mhm.
because that shit is gonna come. It is going to happen, so I just need to make sure that I visualize it, that I focus on it, and then I'm consistent with it.
Mhm.
But then taking those times in different seasons because every season, maybe it's something different.
Right, and then explore things, like, I feel like that's why they call it a calling because something will grab you more than the other thing, and then
Yeah.
once you get an idea of what it is that you want, you take the time and you write that goal down and you write down the steps to get to that goal, and I think a lot of us wanna get to the end goal quickly, but taking it one day at a time and one step at a time is a very practical way to get anything that you want, to be
Oh,
honest.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's a lot of cliff notes in the journey too,
Mhm.
because within the journey and the process of going through the things, you learn different stuff and
Mhm.
pieces that you could take with you and lessons that you could share, those wisdoms
Mhm.
that you can't get when you just go from 0 to 100 real quick.
Mhm.
So heavy on that part. So okay. So I mean, because we finna close it out, but
Mhm.
also take me through what is your personal style like? Like how does Carmen like to get dressed? What's her favorite color? What's your vibe and aesthetic on a fashion girl? Let's go there. Let's take it to the style therapy.
Oh my god, I'm about to let you down so bad. My because I'm like, you know what? I am a very plain Jane girl. My favorite color is turquoise. I love cool colors. I love
Okay.
wearing burgundy too for some reason. I just love that. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
not I dress so simple because I put it all into my creations. And the craziest part is the stuff that I make, I would rarely even want to wear. I'm not really like a flashy girl. I'm a tomboy at heart. I love a fresh pair of J's, some comfortable sweatpants. I
Okay.
love being comfortable, especially at my big age. I love being
Yeah.
comfortable, but I do like to bring out the vixen, the little, the sexy side of myself sometimes.
Baby, she comes out here, okay?
Okay.
Because when you had on that beautiful blue deep plunging neckline
Mhm.
gown, I was like, "Come on, pretty," but, style therapy is really about just whatever you feel good in and feel confident in, that's mainly what it's
Yeah.
about, so it's giving you the girl with the fresh pair of J's on.
Yeah, I'm that girl. I like to be that girl.
Okay,
I can switch it up.
okay.
I feel like I can do whatever style I want to, but most often you're gonna catch me
You
being
can.
super comfortable. I learned my style because when as a kid, like I told you, we were like on a financial struggle side where we were low income at that point, you know? So while the
Mm-hmm.
kids were wearing like the used and the major damage, again, aging myself and the cross colors and all of that, I was in the LA gears, okay? I was going to Payless getting the light up sneakers and shopping at the $10 store. So I didn't have it to wear the name brand shit where the kids in my class were in Jordans. I was in the turtleneck with the hearts all over it and the corduroys with the apple shoe. You know, I was that girl.
You was giving
I
personality
was
though.
giving
You know what?
Yeah, I had
You was
to
giving
I
personality.
had to figure it
Yes.
out. And I just developed my own personal style. I used to dress kooky. I dress crazy. I throw on whatever I want, you know. You know, that's the
Yeah. I
core.
think I'm a kid too that my parents was just like, yo, we not buying Jordans. Like, we're not
Right.
doing the
My
most.
mom
Like,
was like,
we did do outlet shopping when I was younger. When we was coming back up from the coming back up from North Carolina, we would hit the Tangier outlets.
mhm.
And so I would have like the Nike outlet shoes, but it would
Right.
be like the Nike designs that ain't nobody see
Girl, I
before.
kept
So it was
a little
like,
pair of K-Swiss, a little pair of Reebok Fright.
yeah, girl.
Okay.
Yeah, look,
Some
and
Dickie Rees.
my mom was putting me in penny loafers.
Okay, yep,
I
penny
didn't
loafers.
understand the value of penny loafers.
Yes.
Yes, she would have me in a pair of saddle shoes.
Yes. I'm not a designer girl. You know what? I feel like relying on designer
Yeah.
is a cheat code. And I done seen some people throw designer on and still look a mess. So to
Girl,
me, it's style. It's
I'm
your
sorry.
style over what you can afford.
You really can't fake that one. You
Right.
really either know how to put it together or
Right.
you don't, and or you just rest on the laurels of you spent $10,000 on a pair of Dolce & Gabbana boots, and I'm like, who cares? To
Right.
me, the best people who dress are the creatives who can go to the thrift store
Yes.
and pick apart things and put it together
Yes.
and on paint on their jeans and
Yes.
figure out a creative way to make it work. Like that, those are the real fashionable
Thrifting
people
in
to me.
LA is an experience, honey. To shopping in
I
LA, the
know.
finds, the things that you get from the smallest hole in the wall. It was one spot I used to go to that just had threw a mountain of clothes in the middle of the store. And you
Oh
literally
my gosh.
climbed the mountain. I'm not even exaggerating. You climbed the mountain,
I know you're not.
climbed the pile, and you just threw shit and just look for what you could find in this humongous pile of clothes. That's adventurous.
I have a good I love stuff like that. It's like treasure hunting, and I know some people
Yes.
can get overwhelmed
Mhm.
because it's a lot of shit that you gotta go through, but
Mhm.
I appreciate it so much because it's different eras, different textures and
Mhm.
fabrics, like,
Mhm.
and being able to mix and match them. I have a couple of girlfriends that go out to LA often
Mhm.
to do, like, thrifting and everything, and I intend to go with them, but I've heard nothing but awesome things about LA. Now, I don't know how it is now
Mhm.
because of the uptick in secondhand style thrifting and everything.
Mhm.
Sometimes it tends to be an increase in pricing, but I
Mhm.
know that LA always has some really cool, unique pieces, like very wild, off the hook
Yeah,
garments.
it's a fun place. I'm not gonna lie, I love LA.
Yeah.
I love LA.
You love it?
It's
You love it?
beautiful. The weather, the
Would
people
you
that are
move
from
back
there.
there even though
I would.
would
I
you
would
move back?
move there and I would just kick it with my people from Inglewood on down. You know what I'm saying? Like
Say
North
less. Yep.
Hollywood is
Mhm.
really a cool place to be. LA isn't just Hollywood, you know. The last time I went, I
Yeah.
realized
Yeah.
it's really like a big beach town. Like the people that are from there are so laid back and chill and, you know, they have a different style where we're more aggressive on the East Coast. They're far
Mhm.
more laid back.
Mhm.
But where we're more
Well, I got
personality forward, they're a little more passive.
yeah. So I need a redemption tour for LA because the only time I was in LA was for a layover when we were coming back from Dubai.
Mhm.
And we were in there for every bit of we were there for every bit of like maybe 7 or 8 hours. We checked out the beach,
Mhm.
but our car was broken into. Girl, all
At
our
the
shit was
beach.
stolen. Not all of it. Praise God. We were like near the boulevard. I can't even remember exactly where we were, but I know we were not too far from the Hollywood side.
Mhm.
A Sunset Boulevard.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
And so
It's hood in Hollywood, a
yeah.
lot of people don't know that. It's dangerous.
Girl, look, definitely got a whole ass crash course. And
Yeah.
because we heard the car alarm go off, and then we walk around after eating our food, and we see that our door was busted. So they didn't take every single thing, but they took some of our trinkets in like little bags and things from
Uh,
Dubai. But I said I got to go back and get a redemption tour going because I'm like, there's no way that this is going to be the sour taste that LA leaves in my mouth. It's got to be
uh,
better than
I
this.
mean, yeah.
I need a real good experience, like, I need to bring it back, like, I need some sunlight and some fun
I learned a
times,
lot. You
some
talking
I
about
don't know.
moving to New York and what I learned in LA. I learned a lot when I moved to LA because it's different when you
Oof.
get that close to the light. you
Yeah.
get to see how it transforms people. Like when people see that spotlight, you get to see like how hard they'll go to get what they want, to get where they want to go. Because the closer you get to that light, the more addictive it becomes, you know? And
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I learned about frequency a lot in LA. It's interesting. It's different than the East Coast. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It definitely felt different.
Energetically,
I
it's
could
absolutely different.
see, I love a good New York energy. Like,
Mhm,
I appreciate how fast paced it is. I'm
mhm,
also like everybody's very blunt, curt, straight to the point.
mhm.
West Coast, I'm like, it takes me a minute. I'm like, are you real or
It
no?
ebbs
Because
and
it's too
flows with the
passive. So
ocean. It ebbs and flows just like the ocean. You'll get like waves and waves and waves of experience and opportunities and good things happening, and then it recedes just like the ocean. And you got to know how to survive in those moments where it recedes until the tide comes back in. It's just like
hmm,
that. It's just like that.
that's a very poetic way.
Yep.
That's a
And
very
then you get
poetic
to
way to
observe
frame it.
like
I love
human
it.
nature and what happens when it pulls back. Like
Yeah.
how
It's
people
like the recession is a reflection period almost. Like
yeah,
as the border's receding, you kind of got to sit there in
it
this
brings you back
uncomfortable
down to earth.
space. Yeah. Because everything's all good when the opportunities are flowing in, but
Yeah,
when you gotta have that lull and that moment
right.
to kinda sit and reflect,
It
it can be
teaches you how to take off
yeah.
the title that you gave yourself. Like, there are gonna be
Mm,
times, like, where you feel like you're at the top of the world, and there are gonna be times where you have to humble yourself to survive. And you have to be able to, like, take those hats off and take those identities off and just be, just for the sake of your own, like, sanity and mental health, you know? Yeah, it's one of those places. It's interesting. You learn a lot about human nature in LA. Yeah, cool. And you also do some good vintage thrift shopping.
listen, I love it there. I mean, definitely the learning lessons and the vintage shopping is a vibe, but I'm happy that you are well, I was so happy to see you back in Baltimore. I mean, from a
It's
standpoint
been
of,
a
like,
challenge.
I haven't hugged you in a little bit, so it was
Right.
like, "How you doing, girl?"
Yes.
But I'm
Feels
always
good.
excited for you wherever you are.
It
And wherever
feels
you are,
good.
I'm always like, "Go ahead, girl.
I
Root.
was
Go ahead,
making
do your thing."
I made excuses for myself for so many years when I adopted that mentality that I had to get out of New York. I mean, get out of LA because
Yeah.
I'm naming all the places I've been. Get out of
Get out of
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Right.
Got you. We
I
here. Mhm.
you're making an excuse for yourself when you tell yourself you can't be successful here because I have so many friends that are super successful that never left. And it's because they honed in on their focus and their discipline and they decided what they wanted. And it's like, so I always use this, well, I gotta get out of town. I gotta go somewhere to make it. And it's like, no, this time moving home, I accepted like that the universe and God has given me and prepared me with every single talent and gift that I need. And the only thing that's in my way is me. So it doesn't matter where I go.
Mm,
It's just how I'm applying
yes.
myself and how I've learned. And I feel like LA was a little bit of a master class in how to control my frequency and how powerful frequency is. I got to see how it affects other people, for in a positive way and in a negative way, and I'm like, when I take
Mhm,
control of that
mhm.
frequency, that's when you take control of your life. So I had to deprogram myself when it came to being in Baltimore by telling myself this is not where success is because it's just an
Yes.
excuse. And it's been hard. It's been difficult because for years I only came home to hang with my friends. Like this was like my vacation to see my friends and see my family and kick it a little bit, eat some crabs, and then I'm right back out the door. I'm right back
Mhm,
somewhere else.
mhm.
So to be here every day and not perceive it as a failure, it was a challenge at first. But I'm at the
Yeah.
space where I have decided what I'm going to do. I have decided and I understand better what it is that I am and how my gifts work in this realm. And I
Yeah.
see the difference. The more confident I become, the more I see it flourish through my businesses and the more I take self-awareness and accountability seriously, I have far less excuses about reaching what success is.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we can go on and on
Right.
because now I have one last question. What is success to you?
Success growing past where you were technically. To succeed is to get beyond where you were yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
to me, mastering your frequency is success. setting a goal and
Facts.
reaching it is success. And it doesn't have to be like life changing all the time. Success could just be decided that I'm going to consistently work on my business every week and then I meet that goal. And then when you meet that goal, it raises your frequency because you feel good about yourself. And it's
Yeah.
not that I said I'm going to sell 100 jars this week. It's that I did the prep work. I did the prep work to be available to the opportunity that I said that I wanted. And to me, that's the success. And the better I get at that, the better my process becomes. And things come to you more effortlessly.
Yeah.
Success isn't, it's different for me. Like, I've
I
seen
understand.
ups and downs, I've seen ups and downs.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
been successful at something and it felt like shit afterwards. Like that wasn't even my best. Or it's like, success is
Mm.
calming that inner frequency to me and channeling your inner
Hmm.
frequency into consistently getting your desired result, to
Yeah.
succeed, to take yourself further than you were and doing it. To me, doing it through the light. I consider myself more of a light worker, but
Yeah.
everything is light and dark, so it's like successfully using what you need to keep the wheel moving. That's success. Success can
I
be so many
definitely
things.
I understand that. For me, success is like in addition to that, it's like an inner harmony that I have
Mhm,
in alignment. And it's just success is not a quantifiable measure. Like
mhm.
it's not like I'm gonna say once I get this number in the bank, then I'm successful. It's none of those things.
It's
It's incremental.
mhm.
It's not just one thing, but it is a feeling of harmony, of just this feels good to my spirit,
Yeah, at being at
of
peace.
I've honored myself. I said I was gonna do a thing, and I
Mhm,
delivered upon that,
mhm,
and that to me is like, when you keep those promises to yourself, it solidifies the foundation within, you know what I
mhm,
mean? Like, if I'm saying I wanna work out and I wake up and I'm bullshitting, those
mhm,
cracks in my foundation are gonna come, and then whatever insecurities may come out as I'm looking at myself in the mirror, whatever the fact is I have not completed that promise to myself. So it's the harmony, it's success is also just doing what I said I was going to do for me
mhm,
as well. So yeah, I definitely feel that.
mhm.
Definitely feel that. Girl, I feel like we can keep talking,
We really can.
but we're gonna go ahead and just spill this over to a part two at a second date once we figure out how once we get into the springtime and see how everything is percolating for you. But
Okay.
in the meantime, how can the people keep up with you, my dear?
Please keep up with me on my business page first, on Instagram at Uncle Leon's Wellness.
Yes, yes, yes. Get some of that sea moss, and you got the cakes now. That's not cakes. It's fruit, and
And
they're
fruit towers,
beautiful.
yeah,
My gosh, they're gorgeous
I did that for my best friend for his birthday. I had never done that before. And I was just
and
looking
it's
at it and I
beautiful.
said he was in the gym. He was like on his workout stuff. And
Uh huh.
I was like, "How about we have fruit this year instead of cake since getting in shape?" And he was like, "Okay." So I showed him some pictures and I was like, "I'm nervous." And he's like, "You could do it. I'm telling you." He puts a battery in my back.
Come
Like
on,
he's
friend.
my hype man. So he's like,
Yes,
"You could do it. You
you
could do
need
it."
that.
And we're
Yes,
testing it out. So people at the party were asking me, "Can you do this for me?" But I was like, "I don't really." So this year I was like, "This will be a nice addition." So I'm making one in a couple of weeks. I have 2 to make since I put that out there, so it's good.
they are beautiful,
Thank
baby. You
you.
better go ahead, and we
Mhm.
are. I think you and I both align on the just this feeling of wanting to put some good shit out into the world.
Yeah.
And knowing what it takes to fortify yourself and then continue to take care of yourself.
Yes.
It's a long laundry list of things. And so I think if we just kind of think creatively about how wellness can look in every facet of our life, it's
Mhm.
easier to introduce.
Mhm.
So as we're eating the food, it's just like just put the damn cake away. Get a piece of fruit. You know what I mean? The
Right.
fruit is the healthier option. When it comes to getting dressed, fuck them designer labels. You know what I mean? If you can't
Yes.
afford it, like let's get creative with your clothing. Let's go thrifting. Let's mix and match. So I think we are taking an approach to helping people to be more kind to themselves
Yeah.
in a different way. And I think that light, that's the light that we're sharing with the world because that's just how we exist as human beings anyway. So I appreciate you for that. Just being another human. It's like, let's put some good shit out here. Cause
Yeah, let's
we
raise
gotta
the
be better to
frequency of our
ourselves.
people because we could sit around and we could get
Yes.
caught up in media and all of this negative stuff that feeds off of our
Yes.
energy, or we could take the time to create solutions that'll raise the frequency of our community so that we're all manifesting on a different level. And I think that's way more important than trying to fight battles that we will never be able to change this shit. We will never be able to do anything
Girl.
about some of this stuff. We won't, but there are some things that we can do, you know? There are some things
Yes,
that we
I
can
feel
do.
so strongly about that. Heavy on that. How are we gonna change some shit that was created without us in mind in the first place?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, us being doubling down on creating our own spaces that start off top. We're
Yeah.
giving love and we're sowing positive energy into this space versus just being about pitting people against each other. No, fuck that. Mm,
Yeah. It's a lot going on in the world
yeah,
right now. We need each other. We
it
need
really
positive
is.
frequency and we need faith in each other again.
We need faith in each other. We need to frolic and play. We need to create more. We need
Thanks
to
for
make
letting
more
me come in and
love. So,
frolic with you today. You
yes,
having to
of course. Listen,
break
this
my
is,
shyness of being on camera and doing this, you know? This
we're going to do this again.
I
We're
hope
going to do this
so,
again.
'cause
I'm
you
just
don't
saying.
wanna get
I'm
all
just saying. I'm
esoteric
just saying.
and weird with it. I talk about some super weird
We
shit.
love
I
a good
hate talking
weird.
about myself. You see how nervous I was? I can't sit still
Oh
and stay in my life
my God.
right now. I do
So
not like it, but we could talk about some
So
stuff.
I get that so fucking. Listen, I too am a person who's just like, I don't like talking about me, but how about you? I'm gonna deflect and I'm gonna put it right back on you. No, I get it. But your story is so damn important because one, there's so many gems that you shared, and just even the journey of like you pursuing something and then coming to this realization, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like leaving Baltimore was something that you did for your life, but you also understood like you didn't necessarily have to leave Baltimore, but you did
But it was
get
a
some
part of
good
my
lessons and
yeah.
connections. It was part of your
It was
journey.
a part of the
It was
journey.
Carmen's
We
journey.
all walking
Yeah.
different paths, you know?
Hell
So
yeah. Yes,
whatever I was
absolutely.
meant to do, I did it, and now I know I
Yep.
have my tools, and I'm looking forward to using my tools, you know? I'm
Yes. Yes.
very much
Yes. Yes.
equipped.
Girl, I can't wait. We're gonna get you linked up with these babies so you can share your story a little bit more because
Yes.
when I tell you there's a young Carmen out there that's looking and probably somewhere along the lines of your experience and could benefit from your story, I think that's necessary too. We got to pour into these babies
Yes.
because this
Yes.
intergenerational love and sharing of wisdom needs to happen
Yes. We
so that
gotta
we
pour
can.
into the baby. We even got like all of us need to align the elders, peers,
Yes.
babies. It's a
Yes,
lot.
yes. We are not in this alone. We are each other's
Mm-mm.
business, and we as individuals are a revolution. Like
Mhm.
everybody's got a role to play in
Mhm.
changing this shit up and
Mhm.
switching it up. So
Mhm.
thank you, girl, for talking to me today.
Thank you for having me. Look, I got
Of course.
4.5 more hours before I can have some water. I'm fighting for
Listen,
my
I'm gonna
life.
keep you in prayer. This baby is in the practice of Ramadan. We're gonna send her some love and light. And thank you for sharing with us today. I look forward to connecting with you because we still got to go outside and frolic once the weather warms up. But
Yes.
we'll keep the conversations going. But I care for you. I love you, and I
Yes. I
appreciate
love
you.
you too. Thank you so much for sharing your space with me.